Hello, YouTube. Welcome to Jonny Skywatcher Live. I'm your host, Jonny Skywatcher, and if you don't know who I am, this is my YouTube channel right here in this box on the internet that you're watching. I use my YouTube channel to talk about movies, gaming, pretty much anything I like to. It's doesn't have a specific focus on anything. But those are the things I like talking about, so this is what this show is all about. This. Can I talk properly for once? Maybe not. If you watch this, better get used to it, because that's just how I talk. What else was I saying? So, this is the show. I talk about stuff, and maybe you watch? Maybe? I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, today's going to be a little bit short. I don't know. I was looking around at the news for something to talk about, and there's just not that much going on, it seems like. I mean, there's stuff going on, but not stuff I really have an opinion about that, that anybody else doesn't already have, or that I haven't already seen, or it's just way too serious to talk about, or at least way too serious that I just want to blab about on this kind of show. So with that out of the way, let's get to the first news item I have, which is She-Hulk casting. Now, this doesn't seem like a definite thing, but Variety is reporting that I'm not familiar with this actress, but a Tatiana Maslany is nearing a deal to play the lead role of the upcoming She-Hulk series at Disney+. And just the other day, they also reported on She-Hulk News with them getting a director and a producer, I think. So, if you're not familiar with She-Hulk, the series will center on lawyer Jennifer Walters, who is a cousin of Bruce Banner in the comics. I think they'll probably do the same thing in the series, but who knows? Not necessarily. Who inherits his Hulk powers after she receives a blood transfusion from him. Unlike Bruce, however, when she hulks out, Jennifer is able to retain most of her personality, intelligence, and emotional control. Now, this is one thing that's interesting, because normally in the comics and in most of the movies, Hulk is this out-of-control, monster. And that's the thing that makes She-Hulk unique. However, this series is going to be taking place after Endgame, where we already have a Hulk that is able to retain his personality, intelligence, and emotional control. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with that, because pre-Endgame, this would make total sense, to have a character that has the same sort of powers as the Hulk, but is different in a lot of ways. But the thing that makes She-Hulk unique has already been sort of done in the movies with Avengers Endgame. So it'll be interesting to see how they distinguish it. Because I'm assuming they're not going to do something drastically different with the character of She-Hulk. I'm assuming they're going to do, something along these lines, but maybe they'll try to do something a little bit different. Reps from Maslany declined to comment. Reps for Disney did not comment. So this is not anything that's for fact or signed in stone yet that we know of. So this could be true, could not be true. We'll find out. And this actress is perhaps best known for her starring role in the BBC America drama series Orphan Black, which I've never seen, but I've heard is pretty good. Ran for 5 seasons between 2013 and 2017. And then it appears she's also been in Perry Mason and Stronger, Destroyer, and Pink Wall, projects I've never heard of. So, it's not that surprising that we're getting this kind of casting news, because when it comes to Disney Plus, they're not going to have all movie stars, obviously. It's still a Disney Plus series, so expect the leads to be smaller Well, that sounds mean when I say that way, but expect the leads to be more TV actors than movie actors. Because even though a lot of actors, movie actors, are kind of doing more TV nowadays, there is still somewhat that divide of, between television and movies. Anyway, I think the other question I have is how are they going to do the She-Hulk part of it? Because are they going to do something similar with Hulk where she transforms and they maybe use CGI or somebody else? Or is she going to be like in the comics, she's usually been She-Hulk most of the time. She just stays that way. Kind of like Bruce was in Avengers Endgame where he just stays Hulk out all the time. I don't know. Well, we'll just have to see. I, that is my biggest question of how they're going to handle it because we already saw it in Avengers Endgame. They could just I guess do have Jennifer just be exactly like Bruce in Avengers Endgame, or maybe that'll be the thing. Like she can control her Hulk transformations, and to distinguish it from the Hulk we saw in Endgame, they'll have her go back and forth. But then the question is that going to be her? Is the She-Hulk going to be CGI? Like, is it going to be just like her enhanced with CGI, kind of like they do with the movies? And is that something they can really afford? And if they go with the CGI route, are we going to see a lot of She-Hulk, or is it going to be limited because of that? Because that would be a little disappointing if like the series is called She-Hulk, but most times you only see She-Hulk for like 5 minutes per episode, and a big episode 10 minutes. Yeah, I don't think that's a show most people want, and I think I also don't really like the idea of doing a separate actress, like a sort of the way they did the old Hulk TV series, which I've never seen, but if you're familiar with it, they had two actors. One as Bruce Banner, I think, and then the other was a big bodybuilder who was the Hulk, and they would just switch between the two. And I don't know if I like that idea. I think if you had like a body double like that, it still would be just the basis for a CGI. Like maybe because usually I think She-Hulk's not nearly as big as the Hulk, so maybe if you had like a bigger actress, which is who operates as the body double, and then they just CGI a Hulkified face of this actress of Tatiana on top of that, that could work. It's just a question of budget, I think. Anyway, what do you think about She-Hulk? Are you excited for this series? Do you care at all about it? Let me know in the comments below. Moving on. Whoa. Let me change that. Blame the person behind the camera. Except there's nobody behind there. So Nintendo had a partner, another Nintendo Direct Mini Partner Showcase, which I believe this is their third. I don't really have much to talk about this other than to say none of these games really interest me. I know a lot of people were much more disappointed with the previous partner showcases, and I think for the most part that's because Nintendo still hadn't told us anything about what's coming up. And I think from what I've seen, people are more favorable toward this one, and I think that's because they finally told us about Mario's 35th anniversary. They showed Mario 3D All Stars is coming out this Friday, and we know that Super Mario World plus Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury is coming out next year, and then we also have Pikmin 3 now, and also Hyrule Warriors, Age of Calamity. You can't forget that. That's coming out this year. So people feel like Nintendo's in a much better place now that we actually know what's coming up instead of just no information, which was the case for a long time. We just, between Paper Mario and like Mario 35th, we only had like Pikmin 3 Deluxe, and that was it. It was like, what else is coming out? And who knows? So So yeah, I'll just go over what they kind of announced. Monster Hunter Rise, and then also a Monster Hunter Stories 2. I don't play Monster Hunter, so I don't really care that much about this. I guess Monster Hunter Stories 2 is a sequel to a 3DS game called Monster Hunter Stories, which is nice for them. I really like the artwork in this game. It kind of has like the cel shaded Breath of the Wild kind of look, so it looks really cool. I just don't know that much about Monster Hunter. And then weirdly, the weird part about the direct was also this fitness boxing game, Fitness Boxing 2 or whatever it was. Who cares about this? Why do you even need to announce this in a direct? You could just put this on Twitter that's coming out, or even just release it. I mean, it's so weird that they had a pre-orders available today. Like, who is pre-ordering this game? Who is so excited? Like, no, I have Fitness Boxing 1, but I'm really waiting for Fitness Boxing 2. I don't think that's anybody. Also, a Disgaea game. I've never heard of this series before, but the artwork looks cool. It kind of I don't know what kind of game this is, but I really like this art style, and it looks like some sort of RPG of some types, but and I'm just afraid it looks like some sort of dungeon crawler, which I'm not the biggest fan of. Like, I'm guessing just from the idea of how it's just showing the battles that it's some more of some sort of dungeon crawler, infinite dungeon scenario, which I'm not really a big fan of. I'd rather have the story be more structured. And how do I get back? I don't know how to get back. Oh, there we go. So that looks interesting. There was also, they said that Disgaea 5 would be available to Nintendo Online for free for a limited time, which is nice for if you want to try that out. If you have Nintendo Online, you go check it out, apparently. Also, there were some other games that was like, whatever. Empire, Sniper Elite 4. Yeah, I don't care. They also showed off a couple others. I think the other big one was Ori in the Will of the Wisp. I don't know much about this other than it's coming from Microsoft. I believe that's what I heard from people, and this is the second one. It looks cool. The art style looks really cool. It's a 2D platformer, and apparently it's pretty well received. So yeah, that's coming to the Nintendo Switch. And I mean, obviously going into this, we knew nothing big was going to be announced. This is the third partner showcase. If you haven't learned by now that Nintendo isn't going to announce anything huge, I don't know what to tell you. It's just, that's just what these are. You know, would have I preferred a real Nintendo Direct? Yes, but at this point, I don't know if we're getting one this year. Maybe in October. I don't know. Maybe at the very end of the year. Who knows? I think my prediction would be we only get a real Nintendo Direct this year if they give us information about a Switch Pro. It's not going to be just games or something like that. If they give us information about a Switch Pro, there might be a real Nintendo Direct, because if a Switch Pro is coming out March or May or whatever, then they're going to want to say when it's coming out, and then also what other games are going to be out for it. But I also wouldn't be surprised if we don't even hear about it until January, and then have a Direct for that. But we'll just have to see. And moving on to the last topic I have, which is just sort of an update on something, because I just saw it the last minute. It's like, okay, I think I could talk about this for a little bit, and I burping out of control. It's terrible. Ray Fisher in the headlines again because this guy never stops. Ray Fisher calls for a new neutral third-party investigator for Justice League allegations. So, I read a little bit of the article, and apparently it's just coming mostly from this tweet because that's what news has devolved to, just reporting what people have tweeted. So he tweeted this out today, I guess. Yeah, 2:56 p.m., September 17th. Due to the purposeful lack of transparency and in some case blatant lies on the part of WP Pictures and the third-party firm hired by them to investigate Justice League, an official request for a change of investigator has been made of Warner Media. And the one thing I want to say, I don't think I quite realized it when I was talking about it before. So Warner Media is not Warner Brothers. So it's kind of confusing. Warner Media is AT&T ish or whatever, because AT&T acquired Time Warner and then they got rebranded into Warner Media. So I don't even fully understand. I guess Warner Media is what Time Warner used to be. And Time Warner, now Warner Media, owns WB Pictures. WB Pictures is whatever. It's part of Warner Media. So basically he's trying to take it up further up the chain instead of just WB Pictures. And so the other thing I find interesting about them is just he's saying an official request for a change of investigator. So I don't know. Ray Fisher keeps saying these things in his tweets and people keep reporting them, but like, what does that mean? He says an official request for a change of investigator has been made. Does that mean they submitted paperwork, or does that mean his team sent an email to someone at Warner Media? I don't know. And just because they requested it, does that mean Warner Media is going to do anything? I don't know. Oh, yeah, and it goes on. So, as to protect the witnesses involved and the information they possess, I strongly encourage any and all that have been contacted by the current investigator to respectively decline to interview until a truly independent third party is engaged by Warner Media. And here's the thing. He keeps saying that whatever third party whatever third party investigation there has been that apparently he hasn't been cooperating with, he's claiming was hired by Warner Bros instead of Warner Media, which, okay, but they're still a third party investigator. I mean, he's acting like just because Warner Brothers hired them that they're just a Warner Brothers person. That's not a third party investigator. But if you think that Warner Brothers hiring someone that they know to be a third party investigator is suspicious, why do you think Warner Media would be better? It's still part of the same company. They're higher in the company, but if you think that Warner Brothers is only hiring somebody that's going to be favorable to Warner Brothers, Warner Media, why don't you think they're going to do the same thing? They're going to hire, if you think that, then you should think that Warner Media is going to hire somebody who's going to be favorable to Warner Brothers and Warner Media. I don't know what Ray Fisher is talking about. Because if you truly think that way, then you don't want anybody who's attached to Warner Media or Warner Brothers at all. You would want somebody, I don't know, because if you think it, in that way, how are you going to find a third party firm? You might as well take legal action at that point. And in which case, sort of the question would be, why hasn't he taken legal action? If it's as bad as he seems to be claiming it is, why is there no legal action? Well, one of the reasons could be that he doesn't really have a case. That all the things he's sort of talking about and saying there's been abuse and this sort of things, they might be all bad, but maybe they're not legally bad. Maybe it's not something that you can actually say, okay, this person should be in and have some sort of legal cause against them, which would be my guess, because the way he's talking, you know, if this was something he could have sued Warner Brothers over, I'm assuming he would have already done it. It would have already happened. So I'm assuming this is something that I'm guessing he went to a lawyer about, and they told him, you don't really have a case. That this might seem bad, this might actually really be bad. You know, sometimes people get treated really badly, and there's not enough either evidence or enough of it doesn't really break a law. And so you don't really have a case against that person. I don't know. I kind of still think it's just a lot of talk, and anytime that, you know, he seems to just bring it up every few days or so just to get attention. So until he comes out with some more independent information, and either other than just somebody saying, you know, they support him, I'm not really believing the things he's saying, you know. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Anyway, I think that is going to be it for today. If you're watching this video, either if you're watching it now or in the future, thanks for watching. That's the most important thing. Sorry, I'm hearing noises outside. The other thing you can do for me, if you want, no pressure, is feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. That always helps. You know, that's the YouTube mantra, basically. And you can also follow me on Twitter at Skywatcher. I sometimes post things, usually just like video when when I post a video. If I get okay, here's the thing. I'm starting to set up goalposts and things I'm going to do for the future. So if I get enough people subscribing, or especially if I get enough people watching these videos live, I will start updating more on Twitter, especially like times, because this tends to be go all over. So that is something to look out for the future. And also, you can follow me on Twitch TV at Jonny Skywatcher. I mostly played Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. My schedule this week, and something I'm thinking of going on forward, we'll see how it works out. Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 9 p.m. and then probably Saturday at 9 p.m. as well. And I think that's it and everything out of the way. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.